All right, welcome to Reso Biz. This is number 3 video of the Holey guitar resonator guitar series. Holey meaning holes, not holy as an angelic. All right, this video we'll figure out how I get to this or where I get that. We have epoxy. We have messed with epoxy. We've learned things from epoxy. Maybe not what I was hoping, but I did learn, and that's what's important. Here we go. Hi, I'm Byrl with Byrl Guitars, and this is Reso Biz, where everything is greater with a resonator. Okay, I think I'm going to do some explaining. Appreciate the comments. Not everybody commented on YouTube. Some people call me and talk to me. I think in one video I said, I'm not going to tell everybody what I think what I'm going to do is not tell everybody what I'm going to do. I think that's what I said. Anyhow, in doing so, I stirred up more interest and worry and everything else than I thought I would. So let me explain what I mean. Somebody thought that me putting this, gluing this piece here to this board here, I was actually doing that so this would plug the holes for this. And I did, that's true. But they thought that was the only purpose. But let me explain what I'm doing. This is part of the neck. Part of the neck. Ugh. Also part of the neck. And then you put this on like this, you trace around it, you cut it out, and this becomes the neck. That's the bottom of the neck. And so the idea is I fill this with epoxy, and when I cut out the profile, the edges show epoxy in the holes, and it shows the epoxy through those little holes in the back of the neck. It's like, take this thing, the neck like this, and when you turn it like that, of course this is just a template, but when you turn the real neck like that, you'll see this piece of Pecky, what do they call it? Pecky cypress in the middle of the neck, right through here, and you'll see the epoxy in the edges. But to do that, I gotta fill it. So I glued it on here. I'm gonna fill it with epoxy, sand it level, put this on here like so, and then when I cut out the profile of the neck, right, then that will be the back of it as you're looking at the guitar. And it'll have you'll tell it's the Pecky cypress. Then I had somebody else tell me what they had. It really is a cool idea, but they were talking about, because I think they thought I was, well, I don't know what they thought, but I do intend to dye the epoxy different colors. So they thought I was going to put the epoxy in the guitar top, which is what this is, and fill all these holes for the top of the guitar. But I'm not. These are the sound holes. So when we have the top of the guitar, that's where the sound comes. So I'm not cutting the round sound holes or F holes in it. That is going to be the sound holes. Of course, we got a big hole to cut out right here, right, for the cone. So all this is sound holes. Are we getting on the same page now? So no epoxy at all in this. But the idea, and this is fun. I mean, this happened when I did the, if you haven't seen the People's Choice build, pretty much everything I did came from the comments. And I got interesting ideas, and one of the things I did was enlarge the sound hole and made a wooden sound ring. And that was pretty cool, and I really liked that. And I've done it on a few customers' instruments since then. But having this, somebody said, fill this with clear epoxy and put lights on the inside. I'm like, that is a cool idea. I still could put the lights on the inside. I know that the customer wants that, but that's an interesting idea. How you turn the lights on and put power to it, that's the downside. I don't know that I would want a battery inside of it. You'd have to get inside of it and replace all the time. So, but it is a neat idea. So anyhow, I think that's helping us to get somewhat on the same page. And then, I think that pretty well gets us there. This is a cool piece, and I think I showed this in the last one, last video. You say you don't know what you put in your video. Actually, I hardly do. My wife edits them. Sometimes I watch all of it. Sometimes I don't think I watched the last video. You say, why don't you watch the video? Well, I did it. I mean, I built it. I'm the one that did it. So, no, I don't get excited about watching myself on videos. This is going to get filled with epoxy also, and this will be a back strap. If I didn't, I think I put that in the video. So that's going to get filled also. So what we're going to do today, or in this episode, I'm going to glue neck block, tail block on the body, and that will stiffen it up so I can take it out of the mold and I can trim the edges, and then it'll look like a guitar. And then we're going to put some epoxy in one of these pieces. Oh, that was the other thing. Is it the fretboard? That's what this is going to be. We're going to fill this thing with epoxy, and I'm going to cut a fretboard out of this, and the fretboard will have the different colors in it of the epoxy. And then once it's thickness and all that stuff, and I got the shape of a fretboard, then I'll cut my frets in it, do some sort of inlay for the fret mark or position markers. That will be cool. So that gets filled with epoxy. So I think I've got enough epoxy. Deep pour. And somebody was, do you know what you're doing with epoxy? Not completely, no. I use a lot of epoxy for different things, but doing the deep pour stuff, or deeper than, just a little bit, then no, I don't do a lot of that. I have watched a lot of videos of stuff on it, so I probably better test it. So we're going to do it on probably a littler piece, more like this. Make sure it comes out right, looks good. And then once we know we can do it with that, then we'll go on to everything else. And that'll be pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to try to get done, at least in this video, is get that top glued on, get this all maybe hopefully squared away in everybody's mind. Because I had a lot of people really like, what are you doing, Byrl? Somebody asked me about vacuum, how to get the bubbles out of the epoxy, and they want to know what kind of vacuum system or something I was going to do to I've never actually heard of that. But running a torch and heat over the top of the surface to help keep it open, and so it'll breathe and let the bubbles out. However that works, I'm going to do that method. I had thought about it, but have I done it? This will be a first, but I'm not doing it on the guitar itself. I'm going to do it on a little test piece. And let's see. Oh, and I got my stuff for different colors. It's a metallic, so it's got a little bit of a sparkle. It's a real fine metallic for some of it, so it's got a little bit of a sparkle in it. So that's going to be cool. All right, I think that puts us all on the same page. Let's get to it. All right, I've got my black epoxy mixed up. I've got it setting, kind of airing a little bit. I've got a variety of the tints, but I realized as I was looking at it, it reminded me of something. And in my card painting days, I really liked PPG products, and I realized I had some of that still. Dust on it even. But these are full, who knows what these probably cost. $300. I don't know what they are, $200 of just pearl powder. So Never even thought about it until I opened these up and got looking at it, how it was made and the consistency, and I thought, geez, I think I've got the same thing, only not this many colors. But I do have the copper. I might just use that. I like the gold, and so I'm gonna do silver was the other one. Did I have a silver? For some reason I thought I had silver. That's weird, because I was thinking on the silver. I must have thought this was silver, pearl white. Well, maybe we can work with it. These are cool, the blues, but this is a red guitar, back and side, so we're not doing that. The green is interesting, actually. I might slide a little bit of that in there. All right. So I've got that. I've got my epoxy mixed. Let me clean up my space here. What do you think? Should I put gloves on? Yeah. No, I already had some on. Get this stuff out of the way. I'm going to put in a little bit. I'm going to add some epoxy. I think I should have poured some clear. That's a thought I hadn't thought of. I might have to make some more. I meant to pour a little bit of the clear in here, but I've already mixed the black into it, so I'll have to mix up a little bit more epoxy, and because I want to be able to add to that. All right, let me do that. Okay, before I get too carried away with making more epoxy, I thought, you know what, this is still a practice piece, so I'm not really interested in getting it all perfect, but what I am thinking about is filling these holes and making sure that they have, this is the trick, is when most people do their epoxy stuff like this, they're able to look, whatever their finished product is, that's kind of what it's going to be. Whereas that's not how it works for us, because I'm going to sand it down, and especially on some other things. I thought so what I'm thinking is I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of copper in there right now before it's full, just to make sure when I sand this down, I've not just got fancy stuff on the top, I've also got it in the middle too. And before I get it all over me, I better get myself a stick. Yeah, that's gonna work. That's pretty cool. It's already looking neat. Okay. So I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I'm gonna sand this top down, and when I do, I want there to be metallic in the middle too. So I can do fancy little designs and stuff, and we can play with it, but a lot of it's going to get cut off because I'm going to run it through the drum sander and glue something to the top of it, right? So all that really matters is what's in the holes. But just for fun, I'm just going to sprinkle some stuff in it. And that's getting a little silver look. Oh yeah, that's grabbing the stuff that I already put into the copper and streaking it. And then the other thing with, yeah, it's swirling in there. That's very much what I wanted. So we might put a little bit more copper in it. I see that my video is not giving it justice. Yeah, I see the air bubbles popping, and it's moving the stuff around in different ways, putting little pockets in. We'll streak it more and let it mess around, and I'll mess with it some more. Maybe I'll put some streaks in it after this. I saw all sorts of different ways to cause effect, and I might play with some more of those here in a little bit. Alcohol's one of them. Yeah, it's doing all sorts of different stuff just sitting there. I like that the copper, that I put it in first and then I poured it over it, and now as it's settling, it's swirling it. It's very neat. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Very interesting. All right, I'll run some, I get my torch, run some heat over it. Actually, I don't know how much it really matters because I'm not trying to get a perfect finish, but that's the thing. If you think, okay, that's what it's going to look like. No. That gets sanded down, and I have a piece of maple. If we're talking about the neck, I get a piece of maple that goes over it. And this, you say, what are you doing with this piece, Byrl? This is a trial piece. We'll cut it and see what it looks like in the middle and all sorts of stuff. But I definitely, I can see that it's settling and the copper's bubbling up, and hopefully it's swirling around in the middle of it too. It's not just a surface thing. We'll find out. We're going to cut it. We'll check it out, and you'll get a better idea what I'm doing. That's what this is about. Very, very fun. Yeah, and I didn't open it. What's sad is we waited on this, and I had this stuff already. Actually, it wasn't here. I had to go get it, but I did have access to it. Oh well. Live and learn. I've learned a whole bunch of stuff just since the last video that I didn't know about on this epoxy junk. There we go. Oh, not junk. Product. Quality. High quality product. It's wild. I mean, just me spilling it. Now I've got all sorts of different character to it. I don't know how you'd ever control it to know what you want. It's pretty neat. Now I know you don't see any of this, but I've just been playing with it, and I dribbled a little bit of black through it. I drug a toothpick through up here and here. That's the thing is too, is I mean, it's gonna only these little shapes. It looks neat, but these are, no matter how I do it, it's only going to be in the holes. And then once I sand it down, the wood shows through. And then of course this one, it gets cut, and then you're looking at the side of it. That's where you will see it. So this will be very interesting to see. Why are you doing this? But I just want to know what I can do. I've always wanted to do this, and I just never have. So we're playing. And all this is to match kind of a mahogany red color and that color. So yeah, all that'll go good. Just kind of earth tones. That did well. I'm very happy with that. All right, I'm gonna mess with something else. I can't help it. I was messing with green. I sprinkle a little green in it. Yeah, anyhow. I've got a little black left over, and this is my back strap. And if you don't know what I mean, it's gonna be a 1/16 of an inch thick, maybe in between an 1/8 and a 1/4 wide. So we're about 3/4 wide, an 1/8 inch thick. So this will get all narrowed down, but what we're going to do is use the holes from the Pecky to create a interesting look. And then I'll trim it down. I might make it a little bit wider, maybe 3/8, but we'll trim it down. Before I do that, I'll put some copper stuff in it. So as it settles, it's already, I want it all the way through. Again, I'm doing it, and it'll get sanded down, and we'll have. I want to make sure that wherever it ends up, it's a marble situation. So I'm just gonna do it like this, and as it settles, it'll mix. You say, "How do you know, Byrl?" Well, I just did it, but I don't know it. If this don't work, I can do it again. But it's already working. I can see it. It is funny though. I haven't done it. This is my first time. Now, I have played with epoxy, but not quite like this. But I've done. I guess there's more background in my messing with this than I realized. A lot of different painting stuff, and mixing paints and making my own colors. So I am very used to doing stuff like this. But I don't know the rules to epoxy necessarily. And of course, you can't see what I'm doing. But there it is. In fact, that's not a bad idea. We'll just let it run, and then we'll let it run the other way. Because all that is just making wild streaks. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get it crazy. There we go. Can you see that? All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of mixing it with a toothpick. I'm actually kind of looking for the holes. And I mean, you can go crazy with all the trying to make it look just right on the surface, but all that gets sanded off. It's just what's in the hole that's going to show. The fun thing is I'm saying all this, and you're probably thinking, he's crazy. What is he doing? He's messing it all up. Or maybe you understand exactly what I'm doing, but we'll get on the same page. Once we got it done. And you say, oh, that is so neat. Yeah, it is, but how much of it will you see? Because remember, I'm squaring this all up. It's just rough cut. I glued the ends together. None of it was perfectly straight. I'll clean it all up, and then I gotta run it through a thickness sander, and it'll take it down to the thickness of the wood, so all the wood will show, and then it'll just be the holes that have this swirl in it. So how will it look? I don't know. I have no idea. We're both gonna get surprised. That sure turned out cool. No, yeah. And so, again, this will be a good example of what I do with the fretboard. And then I think I'll let it dry. I'll cut the frets in it, and I might do something special with the frets too. So, all sorts of fun. Set my tape on fire. I really did too. Yeah, I can see why that's important if you're trying to get that surface nice, but again, I'm going to be smoothing it down. It's what's on the inside that matters. So I don't know that it's that big a concern. Especially not if I'm setting my shop on fire. I'll take it outside and do it. No, I'm not going to worry about it right now. We'll see if it has big air bubbles in it or something. I'll figure out something else. But I got a heat gun too. It swirled it weird over here. I don't like that. Not that it matters, because that's interesting. Not that it matters because, again, it's what's on the inside. That really is the thing I'm worried about. All right. There's that. Let me work on some other stuff. I walked in to check on it. We had a blowout in it. I just now put this wax paper under it. But anyhow, I know, there's probably somebody screaming in the comment or you watch the video. Bro, it's not going to work. I was thinking about that. I thought, I might release that glue and seep through. I think this is doing okay because it's just one piece of tape. But this was overlapped, or I don't know. Anyhow, it was a test piece anyhow, so I'm not terribly worried about it. But look at that, learned something. So, but again, it's a test piece. So I would cut it, but it's still, I don't. There you can kind of see it's still a little soft. It's hard. It's not sticky, but the idea is what it will look like when I cut it across. I don't know, through here or something, because it's this edge that I want to see. I want to see how much pattern, swirl, and stuff's in it. Then this one, it did kind of it sunk down, and the wood came out the top because it just kind of relaxed the tape and kind of flowed out to the sides. But it's hard to show it, but it's still it's pretty thick, and I can take it down. I want it to be a third of that thickness probably, because it's a back strap. And it looks ugly now, but in my mind I can see what it's going to be. But we'll get a good strip out of this thing, and it'll have all the holes and voids in it. And then this whole piece will look like the color of the wood. We'll sand this down until it's flush with the bottom of the hole. See how it dipped it. It's still hard to see, I guess. There. See how it kind of dipped down. But we'll sand it until it's flush with the bottom of the hole. I'll flip over and sand this up. I had to sand the tape off because it sticks to the tape really good. And I was wanting to get it done for this video, but it's still too soft, and I got to get this thing made. I got to get this downloaded and all that stuff. So next video, I will put this through the saw and drum sander, and we'll get this probably put in. I got to get this into the back so I can get the back started. I put the braces on it, but until this is done, I can't do it because it has to be done first. So anyhow, all right. Well, I think that's all I need to show you. I definitely lost some of its pretty looking figure because when that poured out, everything moved and lost its neat swirl. But again, this face doesn't matter at all. Even this is not even a usable piece. I might do something, get something from this for some other little project, but this is nothing I was even going to use other than just to figure out what it could be used for. Yeah, it was a lot prettier. That's all right. All right, I just run it through. You can see the way I did it here. Not as dramatic as I hoped. And there's an interesting, well, I'm learning. There's holes that the epoxy couldn't get to. I don't know why I'm struggling to get the focus. There we go. So it looks like what I'm going to be doing is filling some after I've actually put the neck together, because that's kind of the angle you're going to see on the neck. Wow, that is soft. Is it soft? Huh. Top's softer than the middle. I mean, harder. Top's harder than the middle. Interesting. Well, there's your test. A little bit of your test. Probably should clean that up and see if that shows any color in there. Get something wet on it. So I got a little wet. Here's what I find. Air bubbles. So I'm learning something. I'll tell you what I'm learning. I'm learning that I'm not going to epoxy the pecky wood first and then cut it, because there's going to be voids that I can't get to, so there's no point. Second of all, the only thing that's really in there as far as color is the black. You can't see really any of the metallic or whatever in it. So yeah, you see the copper down at the bottom there. It's sunk down really. It settled really bad. So I'm going to. It shows in here, but it's got holes in it. It's gonna have to be done. I'll get the neck shaped, pour it in, do whatever. I'll get it kind of roughed out, pour it in, probably run the torch over it, and then get the air bubbles out of this top surface, and then it can be just finished out close to the surface. Well, I learned something. Definitely learned something. Actually learned quite a few things. Well, that's what we're after. We're after an edge like that. Very interesting. Makes me think of a few things. Alright, well, there's epoxy test number 1. There. That makes it look more like a dobro. Okay. I meant to video more of this, but I got caught up in what I was doing. So I have glued the sides on to the top. And then I will, and this is they call it go bars. And usually they're round fiberglass bars, but I use just maple. I got some oak ones that they don't do real good. I used to have a lot of them. They get dry and then they explode. That's fun when your head's stuck in there trying to clean out glue. Neck block is glued in, tail block is glued in. Get these clamps off and get this whole guitar out of the mold, and we can shave off the excess, and it will look like, well, more like a guitar than it has so far. There we go. You say, oh, it isn't shaped right. I know. It'll be okay. We'll just buzz off the edge of this with a flush router. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Always a satisfying result, but very messy, dirty, loud bit of work. That is a guitar there. Holes. What are we going to do about the holes? I'm going to fill these with epoxy right here. You said you weren't going to do that. Well, the brace for the cone goes under there, so I'll probably put some in here, leave the rest of them. I might put some on the edges because I don't think we're gonna put binding on this. We're just gonna roll the edge on this, and then we'll put binding on the back. That's what I think right now. You say you don't have a plan? It changes as we go. Yeah, a little epoxy right there too. All right, I think that's it for this video. Neck block's in, and tail block, the top's glued on, and yeah, looks like a guitar. All right. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoy your comments. I appreciate them. Lots to think about. And if you like the video, hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And look forward to the next video coming out, hopefully Saturday. See you later.